Welcome in Women's Beat soccer reporter John Leuzzi to break down the start of Big East play for the Golden Eagles. John, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, TJ.
Absolutely. So the women's soccer team is off to a hot start this season now. Are they starting to change the narrative in the team?
I absolutely do, and I think this team you mentioned they're out to their best start since 2014 in Big East play. But across my 4 years here at Marquette covering this team seems to have all the right ingredients when putting together a winning culture, and that has been a culture in the last 2 years or so being built by head coach Frank Pelez, and he brings depth to his team this year through the transfer portal and also with the newcomers. 9 newcomers to this team, and it just seems like this team, TJ, is playing with almost like a chip on their shoulder, but they don't care about what's being said across out and the outside. They're just focused on their end goal, and that is obviously breaking the first time to go into the Big East postseason since 2017.
Absolutely, and got to credit culture to multiple sports on Marquette's campus. But in her second season now, Kate Gibson already has 3 goals in 10 games and has just won Big East Offensive Player of the Week. How has she been able to add to the team's success?
I mean, Kate Gibson had a big season last year in her first year for the Golden Eagles, and she's just able to continue that now. She comes off the bench now for Marquette, has a couple starts, but she just has the athleticism and just has a great eye for the ball. And a lot of the Marquette goals from Gibson this year have come off the header, off the cross kicks. So that obviously takes a lot of just IQ, being able to track that down and work on that in practice. But for Gibson, she's going to be a big part of Marquette's future, and especially a big part of the Golden Eagles want to snap that postseason streak this year.
Absolutely, and you certainly love to see a young player like that start to come out of the field and rise above. But you recently wrote a story on senior Josie Kelderman and her return to the field after suffering an ACL injury last season. So what does her return mean for the team going forward?
I mean, for Kelderman, you have to look back all the way to her first year back in 2019. She started 16 out of the 18 games for Marquette. That was a young Marquette team. She was expected to have a bigger role these last 2 seasons. Obviously, last year she was out because of her injury. So you add a veteran presence to this Marquette defense and midfield, and that's really important. Kelderman is able to use that versatility, able to play both positions, because that's something that Pelez likes to use in his team. So able to add to that depth, and this depth, like we said earlier, is just really deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the Golden Eagles have not been in the postseason since 2017. So with the way this season is going, do you think they can snap their 5-year postseason skid?
Absolutely. I mean, I wrote a column just a couple weeks ago for the Marquette Tribune saying there is belief that this program is in the right direction, and that this could be the last year of their rebuild. And you kind of have to look at all the ingredients. They're able to score a lot. They're able to get early scoring, play really good defense, but you're adding experience, and that's what this team needed. So they went to the transfer portal. They got 3 key members in there: Isabella Cook, Elizabeth Beckers, and also Katie Coker, who used to play for Marquette back in the day. So you're able to bring that to what has been a really good core for Marquette, and it's just able to bring an extra level of excitement to this university. This program has not seen its greatest strength since 2015, when they were able to be big competitors inside the Big East Conference.
Certainly lots to look forward to with women's soccer. But from your time coming here as a first-year student and now, what do you think? I know you went over a few of the changes, but what do you think internally as the team inside the locker room? What do you think is going on in there that maybe people don't necessarily have a view on? What do you think is going on in there that's adding to their success?
I mean, I think they're just buying into this philosophy and culture that Pelez and his coaching staff has been able to instill in these last 3 years. And I say it a lot when I come on GSR. It's homeowners, not home renters. And you're kind of buying into the bigger picture and what he's trying to build here within his program. He knows what Marquette women's soccer was, because he was an assistant coach for 19 years before he went to Loyola Chicago. So he's trying to bring back the DNA and the identity of this women's soccer program in the Big East. And with Big East play coming around, they got Creighton on Thursday and then UConn. 2 big games at home for Marquette. So you're able to get those 2. You're putting yourself in a good spot when you have to play against some of the better teams like Xavier, like Villanova, and Georgetown, who are nationally ranked.
For sure, and it sounds like they're on their way to a really great start. But in your opinion, what still stands in their way?
What stands in their way, I think it's playing against those bigger opponents like Georgetown. I mean, Georgetown, nationally ranked opponent, always in the NCAA tournament in the last couple years. They are the top dogs of the Big East, if you will. But so you have to, it's good baby steps, but I think the first step is kind of getting into the postseason right now. And you kind of have to look back to what it was when Megan Duffy took over the women's basketball program in 2019. No one really expected the Cinderella story to happen with the women's team on the hardwood, and I think that narrative is almost happening right now on the pitch.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, John. Coming up, the Celtics are losing their head coach for the season. Plus, someone else has replaced Odell Beckham Jr. for the greatest catch of all time. I don't know. But we dive in after the break.